afternoon, good evening, one of those three. Hi, hi. Hi, 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 hi. Hello. Are you guys excited for more Rita Book? We're reading chapter 4 of Malora Forged by Fate today. Yay! Okay. I have my fireplace going. Okay, everything is looking good. Nice. Nice. So, as promised, I am gonna go through like a little summary of the what? of the first 3 chapters. So we're gonna go through. We're gonna go through that. But first, let me say hello to everybody. Hello, 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 hello. Hi, Soda. Hi, Bay. Hi, John. Hi, Green. Hi, Fjord. Thank you for that bat. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hi, Twisted. Hi, Divine. Hi, Gecko. Hi, Rose. Hello, hello. Yes, it's me, Ritachi. Hi. As evening draws its last breath, as sun is hiding behind the horizon, we all get cozy and warm. We rest while listening to your voice. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so kind. Yes. My voice is still recovering because I've been talking so much and I'm a little sick. So I'll probably be a little quieter. And I'm going to trip over my words a bunch. Yatane! Yay! Okay, so for our summary, because it has been a few weeks since we were reading, I'll start off with the prologue. Yes, and this is going to be Malora Forged by Fate by Koby. And we're following the main character, Malora, who is a little bit of a socially awkward young lady who just got accepted to a new school. So in the prologue, we start off seeing Malora, a hybrid girl with lovely cream horns, getting ready to leave the comfort of her home of Humlock to set off on a trip to start her new life. That's right, you heard right, a new life. She just got accepted into the best and most prestigious school, which is Vargrath Academy. She has a letter that she gazes at and she's like, oh my god, is this real? It's a new start for her and her family, which consists of her mother, her father, and her young baby brother. At the end of the prologue, they all load up into the wagon and they start their over 2-week-long journey to their new home, which is going to be in Garum. So in chapter 1, it follows Ferrith, which is Malora's father, Eris, her mother, Malora, and her baby brother Deegan, as they continue their way to Garum. As they travel, the sun is beating down on the group. It's pretty miserable. Every time the carriage hits a rock, they all kind of get jostled. It's not a carriage, actually. It's a wagon. But yeah, everything gets jostled. So one night, they're like, oh, are we going to get to an inn? Ferrith says, no, sorry. We're going to have to sleep on the road. As such, they run into a group of merchants, a little caravan that is run by none other than Ruick, who is a dwarf merchant that leads the caravan. So, you know, we've got a caravan of merchants that they're going to stay with. They all group together. Ruick offers them dinner and drinkies. So they have some drinks, and all of that. As they're settling in, poor Malora is sent over to find out when and what is for dinner. And she's like, no, I don't want to, but she goes anyway. And they start talking, Ruick and Malora. And then the family joins in, and Ruick is surprised to find that Malora is a hybrid and that she's been accepted to Vargrath Academy. He's very impressed with our cute little protagonist. And he's even more excited to see that Malora has decided to follow in her parents' footsteps. which is to follow up potion brewing, which her mother, Eris, does, and blacksmithing, which her father does. So she's gonna not only go to the most prestigious school, but she's like having a dual major, like she's gonna specialize in both. So that's even more impressive. So Ruik's like super impressed with Our Lady. So impressed such that he offers to give her a potion. A potion, that's right. She took a potion from a stranger, but that's fine. He must have been trustworthy because the potion did not hurt her in any way. But it was a nice, lovely smelling golden potion that was called Elvish Lullaby. After that, her and her family turn in, and Ferrith and Ruik rejoin each other at the fire for more drinks. And it then leads to chapter 2, where we learn that Ruik had, in his travels, had run into many hybrids, just like Malora, but it turns out that they're not really well loved. Hybrids are not really well loved in a lot of the areas, so it's really sad. A lot of times they're struggling. He referenced a beggar, or like a group of beggars, and all of those beggars had money that was given to them, but the hybrids generally didn't have any money. People would just kind of look the other way, and he was embarrassed to say that he too had looked the other way, and so he kind of feels like Malora is giving him a second chance to be, a better person. So the next morning, as everybody's kind of packing up to go their separate ways, him and Malora say goodbye to each other, and he invites them in to his wagon to give Malora a book, which she picks out herself, and it just so happens to be a book about the first king of Gorham. And so she's going to Gorham. She's got a book that's going to teach her kind of a little bit about the history of Gorham. And, they're very excited. And Ruik's excited for Malora too, because it turns out that Gorham is very diverse. And so it's going to be a good place for her, because she will be able to kind of blend in a little bit better and be able to, survive and thrive, if you will. So, everybody's very excited for Malora, but as they set off, they kind of say their goodbyes, and they continue back on the road, where Malora starts reading said book, to her family out loud as they travel. And at this chapter 2, we also get a very exciting opportunity for Miss Malora, because their next night's stop is actually at an inn. They finally get an inn, and they purchase not one room, but 2, so Malora could have her own room. She got a bath and privacy, and she was so happy. Which leads us into chapter 3, which starts in the next morning, where they kind of all gather up together, feeling fresh, clean, and they set off. And it's this day that they finally get to see the city for the first time, which is, Gorham, surrounded by endless wheat fields that surround it. So it's apparently a very pretty sight that they can see from atop a very large hill or mountain that they're going to be going down, and it's surrounded in mist because it's early morning, so it's very pretty. So they're like, okay, well, let's hurry up and get there. So they journey on and go as quickly as they can. However, unfortunately, they weren't fast enough to get to Gorham before the gates closed, because their gates are only open 3 times a day, and if you miss that window, you have to wait outside. So they prepare to camp outside under the stars for one more night before they finally can get into Gorham. So chapter 3 kind of follows that night, where Malora and her mother go find food. They meet an elvish vendor who gives them a yummy noodle dish, which they struggle to eat with chopsticks, which was cute. And then they got Ferrith, the father, some meat dish. And Malora, while they were obtaining food, kind of has a little bit of I wouldn't say it wasn't a panic attack, but she definitely got hit with some anxiety, thinking maybe everything happening isn't real, because it was just all amazing things happening one after another. So she gets a little bit of anxiety, her heart's racing, and she sees the wall to Gorham. and she reaches out and touches it, because if she can touch it, then surely everything must be real. Lo and behold, it's real, and she's relieved, and they spend the night outside under the stars. The family settles in for their last night, and the next morning they pack up and move inside the walls of the city along with the bell that sounds as the gates opening. And this is where we pick up on chapter 4, which is titled A City of Wonder. Are you guys ready for chapter 4? Are you guys ready? We must drink water first. You're new to the story, Gorian? Well, that's good. I'm glad you were able to join this time. That's why I gave a little summary. I hope that kind of helped catch you up on our adventures with Malora. I'm so excited to find out kind of how the city looks like and what Malora and Co experience in this new bustling city. Because based on how many people were outside, this place is huge. And protected because it's got a big wall around it. Blah, blah, blah. Hi, Denzi, by the way. Hi. Okay, so chapter 4, A City of Wonder. As the gates creaked open, Malora's senses were overwhelmed by the sights and sounds of the bustling city beyond. Rows upon rows of towering buildings stretched ahead, their stone bases giving way to timber as they climbed, creating a patchwork of textures and colors. People of all races surged through the gates, a sea of bodies pressing forward, their voices merged into a chaotic blend of shouts, laughter, and hurried conversations. Among the throngs of people, Malora could smell their collective sweat and welcoming aroma of the city's restaurants and the slight tang of the distant coast. Her chest tightened when she saw the mass of travelers trying to leave. Their hurried movements paralleled the eager crowd pouring in. Carts piled high with goods rumbled into... Oh my goodness. Okay, rebooting. Beep, beep, boop, beep, beep. Their hurried movements paralleled the eager crowds pouring in. Carts piled high with goods rumbled toward the gates. Drivers barked orders to clear the way, while families with worn expressions and heavy bags pushed through the claustrophobic crowds, desperate to escape the city. There certainly are a lot of people trying to leave. Eris held her child tightly against her chest. That's how it always is when the gates first open. Ferret tightened his grip on the reins. The same way we waited out here, just as many waited in there. He guided the cart with sweaty palms. Malora watched the sea of people pushing past into the forest behind them, her stomach nodding at the sight of chaos. When she looked forward toward the city, she was already within the walls. Her eyes widened at the view. The city gleamed in the morning light. The road beneath the cart was paved with smooth stone bricks, neatly lining the street. The buildings around her stood in straight rows, leading directly ahead. No twists or turns, just a clear path to the distant, hazy castle. The wagon rolled down the wide, bustling street as Malora absorbed the sights around her. Every building was alive with purpose. Shops and stores filled every space. Not a single structure left unoccupied. Even above her, some buildings had second floors with open balconies where patrons leaned casually over the railings, watching the activities below. Colorful banners fluttered in the wind from windows overhead, and market stalls filled the spaces between the buildings, offering everything from fine fabrics to exotic spices. As they traveled further down the street, something caught her eye. A large wooden sign hung above the entrance to a building painted in warm, inviting colors. The sign depicted a playful succubus, holding a mug of ale in one hand and a candied apple in the other, both held in a way that was impossible to ignore. Her painted expression was mischievous, her pose suggestive. Come satisfy your sweet tooth at the delicious mistress. Malora furrowed her brow at the sight. Well, that is certainly eye-catching. Eris shot a sharp look at her husband. You better not have been looking at it. My eyes are on the road, dear, Ferrith replied. How could something so revealing be out in the open for all to see? Lowering her gaze, she noticed a weary adventurer stepping out of the building, shielding his eyes from the bright morning sun. It's bright out here, the adventurer muttered, squinting against the light. Then, noticing the open gates in the distance, he suddenly stiffened. Wait, the gates are open? Rats, the gates are open! He bolted into a sprint. Malora watched his legs pump furiously toward the city gate, but as his figure disappeared into the crowd, a sound captured her attention. A beautiful singing voice. The melody wrapped around her like a soft blanket. Soothing and inviting, Malora was compelled to find the source. Her eyes scanned the street until they landed on a woman with wet hair singing softly. Completely entranced, Malora's body trembled, wanting to jump from the cart to see the face behind the voice. But before she could act, a succubus from the delicious mistress stormed over, her expression fierce. What did I tell you about poaching my customers? The succubus shouted, pulling off her high heel and brandishing it like a weapon. You think I want a siren around here? The two women began exchanging blows. Wait, so just right outside this... So just outside the pub, we've got a succubus singing a siren singing, and the succubus is like waving her heel at this siren that's singing, and then they start fighting. They start exchanging punches. They're just like wailing on each other, and Melora's just riding by, and she's like, they're doing this in public? She's probably like, oh my god, what would it be like to have that kind of audacity? Right? That's crazy. Also, hi, Zach. Hello, Miss Cheetah. Hi, hi, hi. Hi, hi. Hello. Hello. Hi. Okay, let's jump back in. That's so funny, though. Okay. The two women began exchanging blows, the siren defending herself while the enraged succubus swung her shoe. Malora watched, wide-eyed, as the brief skirmish unfolded in front of her. It was over in a matter of moments, the succubus emerging victorious as the siren retreated into a dark alley. Get out of here! If I want a siren, I'll hire a siren! The succubus yelled, her voice cutting through the noise of the city. Turning back toward the street, the succubus's face was twisted into a scowl, her features sharp and menacing. But the moment her eyes landed on Malora, her expression shifted. A radiant smile bloomed across her face, transforming her from furious to enchanting in the blink of an eye. Hi, Ito. Your voice is gone. I feel that I've been trying to heal I keep thinking about drinking tea, but I keep forgetting. I hope you feel better though, miss. I do. Yes, honey herbal tea. And maybe a little bit of lemon too. Yes. Okay, back to this enchanting succubus. If I ever catch you smelling like succubi perfume, I swear. Dear, if I ever smell like succubi perfume, it'll be because I'm drunk and you're dead. Ferrith grinned teasingly. Besides, we both know I'll die first, probably of old age, and you'll soon follow after just to rejoin me. Eris raised an eyebrow. So, if I die first, you get to spend your days with a succubus? But if you die, I'm supposed to follow you to the grave? How's that supposed to happen? Am I meant to take my own life? No, of course not, Ferrith chuckled. You'll simply die of heartache. In between her parents' teasing, Malora looked elsewhere. Another sight catching her eye. A shop with a door shaped like a gaping mouth of a dragon. Behind the glass window, various items glittered in the soft morning light, each displayed carefully to lure in passers-by. Standing beside the entrance was a well-dressed man, his voice booming as he tried to draw attention to the store. Come on down, folks, to the Dragon's Cove. No treasure too big, no loot too small. Here at the Dragon's Cove, we'll take it here. I'm not. Don't put me outside of a shop. I won't be able to read the script. Here at the Dragon Cove, we'll take it all. Want darks? We've got 'em. Want gold? Done. After the rarest jewels, minerals, and stones, come on down and get your items sold here at the Dragon's Cove. Malora watched several adventurers disappear into the shop, their faces eager with an anticipation. Her gaze drifted back to the window where a row of potions gleamed in the morning light. She focused on a single bottle, a golden liquid that shimmered with the rising sun. She leaned in closer, her eyes narrowed as they settled on the price tag. 400 darks for a fire-resistant potion? Ferrith, with his attention ahead, replied without turning. We're still near the entrance to the city. Everyone's looking to make a quick coin off lazy or unknowing adventurers. Once we get deeper into the city, prices will be a bit more reasonable. Malora frowned, glancing back at the overpriced potion. It feels like a scam. Ferrith chuckled softly, his eyes focused on the road ahead. That's because it is a scam. And that's what will set us apart. We'll be reasonable, honest. Malora pressed her lips together. You really think we can stand out like that? Ferrith smiled, steering the cart around a small crowd. If there's one thing people value more than a bargain, it's trust. If we're honest and reasonable, we will have earned theirs. Continuing deeper into the city, Malora's eyes glossed over every building, each one as unique as the last. They passed over a stone bridge that arched gracefully above a canal, where couples drifted along in small boats. The crystal-clear water sparkled in the warm sunlight. Looking down into the blue canal, she saw something unexpected. A tall, sleek figure broke the surface of the water, its skin shimmering. The person moved with fluid grace, swimming to the edge of the canal before stepping effortlessly onto the street. Without a pause, it transitioned from water to land, continuing its walk as though nothing had changed, leaving a faint trail of droplets behind. Peering deeper into the water, Malora was barely able to make out what lay beneath the surface. Small homes and market stalls built into the walls of the canal itself created an entire community underwater. Lights twinkled from beneath the rippling waves, and she caught glimpses of aquatic races swimming in and out of the structures, going about their daily lives. Garum wasn't just home to those who lived on land. It thrived with life both above and below the water. Suddenly, a large silhouette covered them. Looking upward, Malora's eyes went wide. Massive objects drifted through the clouds. High above the city, there was shadows passing over the bustling streets below. "What are those?" Malora murmured, her voice barely audible. "Airships." Ferrith quickly glanced at the sky. "Fastest way to travel," he chuckled to himself. "Most expensive way to travel, too." Malora stared, unable to tear her eyes away. She watched as it flew past her, docking at a thin, distant structure that towered into the sky. How far do they go? "They go all over the world, at least that's what I've heard." Malora sighed wistfully. "It would have been nice to travel like that. Imagine seeing the world from the sky." "I'm sure it beats the cart," Eris added. "No doubt about that," Ferrith nodded. By the time the sun had reached its apex, they were deep within the maze that was Garum. Eris glanced at her husband, her expression weary. "Dear, how much longer until we get there? I thought you wanted something close to the gate. I feel like we've been traveling inside the city for hours." "That was the original plan, but that changed after Malora got accepted into Vargrath. We can't live too far from the school." "Sorry," Malora muttered. Eris turned to her daughter. "Don't you ever apologize for doing something commendable." Okay. Malora stumbled, her cheeks warming. Finally, the wagon came to an abrupt stop. Ooh, where do you think they got to? So it seems Malora also apologizes for existing sometimes. I feel like that's a problem a lot of people have. It's like, oh, sorry. Oh, wait, it's not something we need to apologize for. Like, she got accepted into this cool school and is like, oh, I'm sorry because I inconvenienced you by getting into this school. Like, she feels genuinely bad. And her parents are like, no, this is so cool. This is such a great reason to be further into the city. It makes sense. It does. It does. Maybe you can fall asleep to this. You might be able to, for sure. That's kind of why I started this series, was to kind of like have a nice, fun wind down moment. But Malora is... I'm so glad her family's supporting her. Like, that's so relieving that, you know, they're totally okay with like fully supporting their daughter. So that's awesome. Okay, let's pick it back up. Malora looked at her father. Are we here? She glanced around, scanning the streets for her new home. We're as close as we can get with the cart. Ferrith pointed into a dark and narrow alley. In there. Oh, so their shop's like in an alley. How will they be able to like market their goods? Oh, maybe like the front of the shop. Maybe like the back is like the entrance to the living area. And then like the front of the shop maybe like faces the more main street, right? That might make sense. I feel like that would make sense. Malora stared at the crack between the buildings, her stomach twisting. With everyone disembarking, Ferrith led his family through the tight alley. They walked for a few minutes, passing several doors before he stopped at one. Above the entrance hung a small wooden sign that read, "Sold." Taking out a metal key, Ferrith inserted it into the door and opened it with an audible creak. The interior was dark, but the faint light from the alley illuminated just enough for them to see inside. As Malora stepped in, she was hit by the thick scent of mildew and dust, like stepping into a long-abandoned broom closet. She wrinkled her nose, her eyes scanning the space. Cobwebs clung to the corners, countertops were thick with dust, and the shelves looked as though they might collapse at any moment. I figured it wouldn't be a mansion, but this feels more like a shed. I know it's not much right now, but imagine what we can do. Ferrith walked around the dusty room. Picture it. Walls lined with weapons and armor, display cases filled with potions. I love it, Eris smiled warmly. You do? Ferrith's shoulders relaxed. You can see the potential. That's all I see. Her voice rose excitedly. We'll have it cleaned up and ready in a few days. Come, look. Ferrith walked toward the door at the back of the shop. He opened it, revealing a dual staircase. Downstairs will be the forge and that's a hard word to say. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Hi, Zach. Hello. Hi. Well, wait. Okay, downstairs will be the forge and brewery. But up here, this is what I want to show you. Malora followed her parents up the creaky stairs, each step echoing loudly in her pointed ears. The faint light from the front door barely reached into the narrow staircase, and with each step higher, the darkness seemed to grow, consuming everything around her. Atop the staircase, Ferrith opened a window into the alleyway, allowing a stream of sunlight to flood the dark corridor. The warm glow chased away the shadows, revealing more of the creaky old house. Dust particles floated lazily in the air, catching the light as Ferrith gestured for them to follow him down the hall. This is it. He stopped in front of the first door on the right and pushed it open, revealing what would become the main living area. The room was modest but spacious, with slanted wooden beams overhead and large windows that looked out onto the narrow alley. The light made the space seem more welcoming than the musty shop below, though it still held the same scent of abandonment. Once we air it out and give it a good cleaning, I think this place will come to life. Ferrith glanced at his wife. Eris nodded, her eyes already scanning the room, mentally arranging furniture. I can see it. It's a good space. Cozy. Ferrith smiled and then turned his attention to Malora, who was lingering in the doorway, still taking in the unfamiliar surroundings. Come on, there's more. He led them further down the hall. Excuse me? Excuse me. Oh, hi, Hazy. Enjoying the reading? Oh, I'm so glad. Yattane. I'm glad. Oh, this house, while it's dusty and like has been vacant for a long time, I feel like you can fix almost anything up. So like this is a good representation of like putting in some work for like a really good new start. So I'm excited to see how they like put it together. But they're gonna have to walk such a long distance to bring their stuff in. Oh my goodness. It's gonna take so long, huh? So he said, come, there's more. He led them further down the hall. Passing a few other unopened rooms, they reached the end of the corridor, where two doors stood opposite one another. Ferrith opened the first, revealing another modest room. This will be our bedroom. He stepped back for his wife to enter. It's a bit smaller than what we're used to, but I think it'll suit us just fine. He lingered for a moment before turning to the last door in the hallway. And this, he looked at his daughter, is yours, Malora. Malora stepped forward, her heart fluttering. She hesitated for a moment, her hand resting on the old, slightly worn handle. Then, with a gentle push, the door creaked open. The room was simple, like the rest of the house, with wooden floors and a small window that allowed just enough. Oh my goodness. Hi Blake. Hello, welcome in. Hi. Thank you so much for the follow. I hope you enjoy the book. Thank you. Where was I? I kept tripping over to words. Okay. The room was simple, like the rest of the house, with wooden floors and a small window that allowed just enough sunlight to stream in. Dust hovered in the air and cobwebs draped the corners, but despite its neglected state, the room felt like a blank canvas waiting for her to make it her own. Malora walked further inside, the quiet stillness of the room settling over her. "If you don't like this room, there's another one you can have," Ferrith said from the doorway. "I thought you'd prefer this one because of the window." "No, this is good," Malora nodded. Ferrith smiled back, his voice gentle. "We'll give you a moment then." He rested his hand briefly on her shoulder before he and Eris quietly left. As the door clicked shut, Malora stood in the center of the room, listening to her parents' muffled words and footsteps. "Well, this is it," she thought. She studied the space. "This is my new room. My room." With quiet steps, she walked around, imagining where she would put her furniture. Wait. Imagining where she would put her future furniture. She pursed her lips. More light. She quickly moved toward the window. A thin line of sunlight seeped through the crack before she pushed them open. With a gentle creak, a draft of air pushed against her face, cooling the dampness on her forehead. She wrinkled her nose at the sudden scent of the alley. Across the narrow alleyway, a young boy, around 10 years old, stood in front of his window, talking to his reflection in the mirror. He was changing his voice, acting out a conversation. "Wow, you look really nice. Where did you get those clothes?" he asked, his voice high-pitched and dramatic. "Oh, these? I just bought them with money," he replied in his natural voice. A grin spread across his face. "Oh, wow, you have money?" The boy's playful exchange came to a sudden halt when he noticed Malora watching him. His eyes widened, and his nostrils flared as he turned to face her directly. "Do you mind?" So sorry." She closed the window halfway, blocking the view of the boy, but still allowing light to shroud the room. Turning back, she surveyed the space again, now brighter and more welcoming with the sun streaming in. A flicker of a smile graced her lips. Imagine looking out your window and there's a guy, "I bought this with money." What else would you buy it with? Money! Okay. That'd be so funny though. He's like trying to role play a conversation with a lady. And you just kind of look down and you're like, "What are you doing?" Poor Malora. She's like, "I was just chilling. I'm sorry. It was an accident. I was just trying to open my window. I live here." Her brief moment of peace was interrupted by the soft creak of the door. Her mother stepped in. "Is everything all right in here?" "Everything's fine," Malora nodded. "Great, even." "That's good." Eris slowly approached her daughter. "So, we could both help your father, wait. So, we could both help your father unpack the cart, or..." She paused, her smile growing. "Or?" Malora tilted her head. Or, Eris placed her hands on Melora's shoulders, we could go get your school uniform. Melora's face lit up. Really? Are you sure that's okay? Your father will be fine. Eris waved her hand. He's the one who suggested it. Malora held back a wide grin, her head moving up and down. Okay. Oh, they're gonna go get her thing. Yes. They're gonna go get her school uniform. That's so exciting. Wow. Well, unfortunately, you don't have to imagine because you have 3 sisters. I bet they probably have some interesting conversations. You know what? I can't say shit, honestly. Sometimes, like, before I go to, like, Discord calls, I'll, like, hype myself up in the mirror, too. I'm like, you can do it, Rita. You can do it. Just go in. You can say hello. They'll probably say hi back. Ask how you're doing. You just have to say that you're doing fine. Don't think too hard. And I just, like, cheer myself on, and then I join the call and panic. But that's fine. It's called anxiety. Yay! Talking about their dating life? Oh, that makes sense, Ito. That makes sense. Okay, so now we have a little bit of a jump. Stepping into the city streets felt different than riding through them in a cart. Now that Malora stood on solid ground, everything loomed larger. The buildings towered above her, their stone and wooden structures reaching into the sky, while the passerby, while the passersby, The buildings towered above her, their stone and wooden structures reaching into the sky, while the passersby, many taller and broader than she was, made her feel smaller than ever before. You ready? Eris asked, her voice soft and reassuring. She wore a sling across her body, carrying her baby, whose wide eyes peeked out at the bustling city. Malora nodded, her tail gently swaying in the breeze. I forgot she had a tail. Oh, that's so cute. Malora's adorable. Okay. Malora nodded, her tail gently swaying in the breeze, a slight tightness in her chest. You have your acceptance letter, right? Mm-hmm. Here. Malora handed her mother the crumpled letter. All right, let's see. Eris opened the paper, her eyes quickly scanning the contents. Thread and thistle. That's where we'll get your uniform. So, Malora glanced around. How do we find it? That's a good question. Eris chuckled lightly. Looking up from the letter, the city stretched out in every direction. The shops, inns, and market stalls seemed to blend in the flurry of activity. She turned to Malora, giving her a wink. Let's ask someone. Best way to navigate a new city, after all. As they stepped forward into the crowded street, Malora caught glimpses of shop signs, some hanging from windows and others painted directly on the walls, all adorned with fantastical imagery. A vendor nearby called out the price of freshly baked goods, while a group of adventurers bargained loudly over runes at a nearby stall. None of the shops, however, stood out quite like the tavern that loomed in front of the alley they had just emerged from. A large, bold sign read, "Bottoms up!" And it was quite the gathering spot, with a steady stream of patrons moving in and out. Eris approached a woman nearby who was examining rope footwear at a market stall. Excuse me, do you know how we can find thread and thistle? The woman smiled, adjusting the scarf around her neck. Thread and thistle, yes. It's near the school, just a bit further down the road. You'll come to a large fountain, turn right, and continue for about a scone. Look for a shop with a spindle and a needle. You won't miss it. Thank you, Eris nodded gratefully. After taking. Wait. Thank you, Eris nodded gratefully. Taking Melora's hand in her own, Eris marched where the woman had told her. Before long, they reached the fountain, an intricate structure carved from stone, embedded with rich details. At its center, a large stone sword stood, water spewing from its pommel, and shimmering in the light as it cascaded down into the basin. Following the directions, they turned at the fountain and continued walking. After what felt like half an hour, they finally spotted the shop. A large spindle and needle, comically oversized, taking up nearly an entire window display. I see why she said we wouldn't miss it. Malora stifled a chuckle. Entering the shop, Malora was greeted by the warm scents of fabrics, leather, and a hint of lavender. The room was softly illuminated by lamps along the walls, casting an orange glow over the arranged bolts of cloth and hanging garments. She followed her mother. Excuse me. Oh, you missed the recap? No worry, Lucid. You can definitely have a listen to the VOD. I recapped the entire book at the start, so you'll be able to follow along without having to rewatch all of the other chapters. Unless you want to, of course. All the other chapters should be in the VOD section on the YouTubes. Yeah. Ta. Okay, back to. Entering the shop, Malora was greeted by the warm scents of fabrics, leather, and a hint of lavender. The room was softly illuminated by lamps along the walls, casting an orange glow over the arranged bolts of cloth and hanging garments. She followed her mother to the front counter, her footsteps muffled by the plush rugs beneath her feet. The shop was quiet, with no one there to greet them, but a small brass bell sat on the counter. Iris gave it a gentle ring. The chime sounded softly through the room, its echo absorbed by the luxurious fabrics surrounding them. Oh my gosh, do you ever go to like a shop or like a stall and no one's there and just that bell? There's one in Phasmophobia and I have no problem ringing that, but if I ever go up to like a stall and there's a bell there and no one's there, I can't ring it. I can't. I feel like I'm bothering them. I know that's like dumb to say, but I definitely feel like I can't ring it. I can't. It takes me a really long time and then I'll go to ring it, but I'll ring it very, very softly. You know, like I'll push it down very gently so that it's not a very loud ring. So then sometimes it's not heard. Listen, it's anxiety. I don't know how to, it's gotta be like, that's gotta be the anxiety. Like I'm just socially awkward. I'm very much an introvert. Like I can't do it. I cannot. I've had to do it before in the past to like ask somebody for pins. Like a writing utensil, not like the stabby pins, but like a writing utensil. Because I needed like just like a box of them for a project or something, and I had to there was nobody there. It said ring the bell if no one is at the desk, and I sat there and I looked at it for about 5 minutes. Luckily nobody else came by, but I was like looking at it for 5 minutes. I'm like, maybe they'll just come back, like maybe I don't need to ring the bell. And so then I'm just sitting there and I'm looking at the bell, and then I just simply can't ring it. But then, eventually I just very lightly tap it. And then they come and help. But, oh my god, I'm so awkward. I'm so awkward. And of course they came and helped and gave me the pin. Nobody was mad. So I sat there for nothing because I was convinced that they would be really annoyed with me if I did it. If I rang the bell. I don't know why. Yeah, I gotta hype myself up first. I have to have a little pep talk. Listen, the pep talk is the most important part. It's the most important part, okay? So, I mean, Like, if I was in Malora's position and my mother just went up and just rang the bell, I'd be all like, how did you do that? She's a wizard. She's a wizard. How did you do that? Or it's either that or I would be all like, oh my God, and like my instinct would be to go hide until I know it's safe to come out. Like the person that we summoned with the bell isn't gonna like bite our heads off or something. It's so unrealistic, like, but my brain, my brain can't be reasoned with, okay? Logic doesn't work. Yeah, you do the second option, same. Like if somebody knocks on the door, I'm like, nobody's home, sorry. Don't knock on my door, nobody's here. Then trick the brain, just do it. Just do it. Maybe. Oh man, okay. A moment later, a tall, slender Neanderthal woman appeared from behind the wall, moving gracefully. She had an air of elegance. Her dark brown hair was tied back in a loose, messy bun with a few silver strands framing her face. Her spectacles rested at the tip of her nose, allowing sharp eyes to peer over them as she assessed her new customers. The woman smiled warmly as she approached. "Welcome to Thread and Thistle." Her voice was melodic and soothing. "How can I be of service?" "Well, I think I'm supposed to give you this." Eris handed over the acceptance letter. The woman glanced at the letter briefly before her eyes lit up. "A student of Vargrath, of course." She inspected the letter more carefully, ensuring its authenticity. Once satisfied, she turned her attention to Malora with a kind smile. "Well then, it's lovely to meet you, Malora. I'm Goanna. Follow me, please." Handing the letter back to Eris, Goanna stepped from behind the counter, gesturing for them to follow. She moved toward one of the several curtain sections along the wall, pulling back the fabric to reveal a small fitting chamber lined with mirrors on every side. "Come on now." She nudged her head toward the mirrored room. Melora's stomach tightened. She glanced at her mother, who gave her an encouraging nod. Her abdomen eased slightly. Malora followed Goanna into the chamber, where she was greeted by the sight of her reflection surrounding her. Her cheeks reddened as she looked at her every angle. "Your mother can join us if you like." Malora nodded, her voice quiet. "Okay." Eris stepped in behind her, offering a comforting smile. Goanna clasped her hands together with a slight wince. "I'll need you to dress down into the undergarments I provide." "What?" Malora squeaked, her face instantly flushing a deeper pink. "I know it's a little awkward, but it's important for getting accurate measurements." "Can I ask why?" Eris interjected. "Vargrath uniforms are custom-made to hug the body perfectly. I need precise measurements to ensure the uniform fits exactly right." "We're not just gonna buy the uniform?" Melora's face reddened even more. "Not at all, love. Each uniform is made specifically for each student. I don't keep extras. Everything is tailored to exact specifications." Eris leaned in, her voice low and soothing. "Are you okay with this?" Malora took a deep breath, then nodded. "I'm okay," she whispered, still blushing. I'll do it." "Wonderful," Goanna beamed. "Let's not waste any time then." She stepped out of the chamber and pulled a set of clean undergarments from the nearby shelf, handing them to Malora. "Change into these and I'll wait right outside. Just call for me when you're ready." Goanna smiled before pulling the fabric between them. With the curtain drawn, Eris was the first to break the silence. "Well, let's get you changed." With trembling hands, Malora unfastened her clothes, her stomach nodding with each layer she removed. She shivered as the cool air touched her skin, usually hidden. She reached for the undergarments Guana had provided, slipping into them. Then clung snugly. Wait. Oh my god. Okay. Yes, for Halloween, your friend was wearing a giant banana costume. Oh. Oh, what must it be like to be brave, I wonder sometimes. Yes. With trembling hands, Malora unfastened her clothes, her stomach nodding with each layer she removed. She shivered as the cool air touched the skin usually hidden. She reached for the undergarments Guana had provided, slipping into them. They clung snugly to her body, like a second coating of skin. She turned to the mirror, her reflection staring back at her. The undergarments didn't emphasize her curves, but they didn't hide them either. The white fabric blended almost seamlessly into her snow-colored skin, making her look as though she were barely clothed at all. The only thing that stood out was her face, flushed pink in sharp contrast to the rest of her body. Even her baby brother's cool blue eyes, watching from his sling, pressed like ice against her flesh. Melora's cheeks deepened to an even brighter shade as she looked at herself. She glanced at her mother, her voice barely a whisper. "So, you look like the day you were born," she forced a chuckle. Melora's lip quivered, and her amber eyes began to glisten. "Don't say that," she muttered, barely audible. "I'm sorry," she smiled. "Just trying to make it easier." Malora took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. Even so, her face remained hot. Eris placed a hand on her shoulder. "Are you ready?" Malora swallowed the lump in her throat and nodded. Eris called for Guana, who slipped gracefully through the small crack in the curtain and closed it behind her. "All right, sweetheart." She rolled out the measuring tape. "Let's get started. And don't worry," she winked. "I'm known for being swift." She began measuring Malora with the careful precision of someone who had done this 1,000 times. She began measuring Malora with the careful precision of someone who had done so 1,000 times. There was no rush in her movements, yet when Malora blinked, Guana would be in a new position entirely. "You don't need to write anything down?" Eris furrowed her brow. Guana chuckled lightly, not taking her eyes off the tape. "No need, dear. I've been doing this for a long time." No need, dear. I've been doing this for a long time. The numbers tend to stick with me. Besides, I wouldn't let your daughter go to Vargrath in anything less than perfect." "And you've never made a mistake?" "Not once," she peered at Eris through the corner of her spectacles. "I know how important it is for each student to feel confident in their uniform." She tilted her head toward Malora. "And I take that responsibility seriously." She circled Malora like a dancer, her movements graceful as she switched from one area to the next. When she came to Melora's front, she gave her a motherly smile. "You're a beautiful girl, Malora," she pursed her lips. "You'll be a beautiful woman one day, too. I can see it." Melora's face turned another shade darker. Thank you." She stared at the ceiling. Guana chuckled softly. Don't be embarrassed. Hi, Soup. Welcome in. Welcome. Sometimes you get more bravery from costumes. Oh, that makes sense. That does. You can't even read me? That's true. You're right. I'm dyslexic. I can't read. Okay, and I appreciate. Okay. Well, I will give you the benefit of the doubt since you are new here, but I am indeed dyslexic, and this is a Read a Book series where I'm reading a book for fun to try to get better at reading out loud. So, yes, it is true that I do stumble over my words, but it's because I am dyslexic. And if that does bother you, you definitely don't have to stay, but, if you do want to, you definitely can. All right, let's continue. Okay, oh wait, I think we already did this part. No, I'll go ahead and start here. Guana chuckled softly. Don't be embarrassed, love. It's a good thing. Just keep your focus on your studies at Vargrath, all right? They may be strict, but that doesn't stop students from starting romantic relationships among themselves. I'm not really interested in that sort of thing, Malora murmured. And that's fine, dear. You've got your whole life ahead of you. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Love can't wait until... Oh, wait, no. Love can wait until you're ready. Are you married, Guana? Eris asked. Guana's hands didn't falter as she worked, but her voice softened. I was. My husband passed not long after our son was born, but life goes on, doesn't it? Malora watched Guana's reflection work through the mirror. My son is my joy now. He's grown to be a brilliant man. It still astonishes me that I'm his mother. You know, it was his dream to go to Vargrath. Her eyes met Malora's reflection. Did he like it there? He wasn't accepted. Guana looked back at her measuring tape. But that's all right. We all have our paths, don't we? Perhaps it just wasn't meant to be. Malora bit her cheek, averting her gaze. Don't worry about that, love. You've earned your place. Now let's make sure you look the part. She finished the final measurements with a soft hum, then tucked her measuring tape away. There we are, all done, she smiled brightly. Malora exhaled deeply, feeling the tight knots in her stomach slowly detangle. Now, you get dressed and I'll meet you in the lobby. She gave Malora a pat on the shoulder and left the chamber. Malora quickly changed into her clothes and they stepped from behind the curtain, approaching the counter where Guana was waiting. Just out of curiosity, what materials do you use to make the uniforms? Eris asked. Guana's face lit up. Let me show you. She turned around and pulled 2 fabrics from the wall, one black, the other brown. She held up the black material first. This is moon silk. It's used for shirts, pants, and skirts, known for its soft texture and, more importantly, its protection against the elements. Switching her attention to the brown fabric, she ran her fingers along the material. And this is Velocis. I think it's Velocis. And this is Velocis wool, lined with stone cilia scales. Is she going to be fighting dragons with this? Eris chuckled, curiously touching the heavy material. Oh, thank you for that, Pat. Thank you. Thank you. We're going over fabrics, and they have like super special properties, it seems like. Yes. Idiots are idiots, ignore them. Oh, don't worry, it's okay. I try not to let things bother me, and sometimes people can come off as like more abrasive than they intend to be, and like are asking questions out of curiosity, and it just seems like really rude. And so I find a lot of times it's better to respond in a way like that, and then if the hate continues after you've kind of clarified, then we ban. then we ban hammer. You know what I mean? But overall, it's all good. We're all good. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, thank you so much for the sub, Moody. Thank you, thank you. I hope you enjoy the emotes. Banhammer, yeah. But I like to give everybody a try because sometimes people are just like a little bit abrasive in how they are like coming off. And maybe that was the case, maybe it wasn't. I do think the comment was a little bit rude, but you know, hey, it's okay. It's okay. Also, I realized that I didn't have the YouTube chat up. I'm so sorry. Hi, Murilo. Hi. Hello. Okay, I'll have everything up. I gotta figure out where I was. But don't worry. We're having fun. We're gonna have a good time. Okay, back to it. So, we were going over what materials were being used. Which was molasses wool and stone cilia scales. Or that is lined with stone cilia scales, it seems like. And Eris was joking around. That's true. That's true, Gorian. But it's okay. I am dyslexic and I do stumble over my words, but I'm doing my very best. And what's important is that the people that enjoy it will stay. And I mean, it's kind of a fun experience because I'm not the best at reading out loud. You guys get to see kind of in real time me improving. And so I'm pretty excited about that, to be able to share that with you guys. You were on YouTube and you heard me talking about dyslexia. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Moody. It's a very hard thing to deal with, you know, to be brave and like read out loud. But I love reading and I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and I'm like, I love that it makes it so accessible. And whenever I listen to the audiobooks, I feel like I jump into the book. And so I wanted to try to get better and like share that experience with everybody. You're proud of me? Oh my God, stop. I'm gonna blush. Right? That part. And the vulnerability. And like, I don't know. I think it's this good step at being brave. Yeah, practice makes perfect. And you know, sometimes the words jiggle around a little bit, and like it's hard to read, but it gets easier. And honestly, stumbling is okay. We stumble sometimes. We stumble. I am always open to learn, right? And that's what makes it fun. And I'm loving this book so far, and it's like, that's also why I picked kind of like a young adult book, so that it would be like something with too many crazy words. So, you know, I'm starting off small, and then we grow. We grow in together. Togetherness. Yatane, yes. Let's see. Yes, Rita me. Alright, so Eris, okay, this is where we were. Eris, is she going to be fighting dragons with this? Eris chuckled curiously, touching the heavy material. Guana laughed, her smile widening. Of course not. But just as Volgrath only accepts the best students, they only use the best materials for their uniform. Plus, the type of subjects Vargrath teaches, a little extra protection doesn't hurt. With a twinkle in her eye, Goanna reached behind the counter and pulled out a small dagger. Malora's attention lingered on the blade, admiring the jewel embedded in the handle. Observe. Guana, without hesitation, plunged the dagger directly into her arm, stabbing the fabric she had draped over it. Both mother and daughter gasped, shocked. Wait. Yeah. Okay. Both mother and daughter gasped, shocked expressions frozen on their faces. Not a moment later, Guana placed her blade down. She lifted the viralis wool with a flourish, revealing that it was unscathed. See? She lifted her arm to the stunned pair. Eris blinked, shaking her head slightly. I'm sorry, but how much is this going to cost? I was wondering the same thing, Malora thought. Guana chuckled softly. Not to worry. Vargrath is well aware that not all of their students come from noble families, so they take care of all expenses related to the uniforms. She smiled warmly. You won't have to pay a single dark. Malora and Eris sighed. Malora and Eris sighed in relief. Well, that's good to hear. So, are we all set then? Guana raised a finger. Almost. I'll be making 5 uniforms and a spare. She turned her gaze to Malora. I recommend keeping the spare in your locker at school. You never know when you might need it. And I'll also be making 2 combat uniforms. Combat uniforms? Eris leaned forward. She's a support. Guana nodded patiently. Yes, but basic combat lessons are mandatory for all students regardless of class. At the mention of combat, both Malora and Eris exchanged uneasy glances. Malora's stomach tightened at the thought. Don't worry, Vargrath ensures that all students are properly trained and prepared. And the combat lessons are meant to help everyone stay safe, not to turn every student into a warrior. Malora swallowed, and Eris rubbed her daughter's back. I'll also be making 6 winter uniforms. With the seasons changing, it's important to be prepared. When do classes start again? Guana placed her finger on her chin. In 3 days? Eris looked at Malora. 3 days, Malora nodded. All right, then give me time. Oh, wait, no, she said 3 days. How is that? How is she gonna finish? Wait, hold on, wait, what? What? Okay, wait. Okay, so 3 days. They have 3 days until classes start. All right, that gives me time. I'll start working on the uniforms tonight and have them ready for you by noon tomorrow. My partner will begin the enchantment process in the evening, and everything should be ready for pickup the following morning. Eris raised a brow. Enchantment process? Guana chuckled. Yes, just a few basic enchantments. The material can be a bit stiff, so we add a flexibility enchantment for comfort. There will also be a durability and protection enchantment applied as well. You can never be too careful these days. Can you really get all that done in less than 2 days? Of course I can, Guana grinned proudly. I'll have your 5 uniforms and 1 combat uniform ready, and the rest will be finished by the end of the week. Like I said, she winked again, I'm known for being swift. Well, that sounds perfect. Eris turned to Malora with a smile. We'll be back in 2 days then. All right, Guana nodded, her warmth and professionalism putting both mother and daughter at ease. Take care and don't worry, everything will be Take care and don't worry, everything will be ready and perfect for your first day. As Malora and her mother stepped into the road again, the sun was setting, bathing the city in an amber light. The shadows of the buildings stretched, casting deep purples and oranges along the cobbled streets. She was nice, Malora looked at her mother. Kind of different, though. Eris nodded. A little odd, but in a good way. Yeah. With the night approaching, the street was still alive with vendors closing their stalls and shopkeepers removing their open signs. Just as they finished their conversation, a large crowd came into view near a narrow alleyway, their hushed voices thick with tension. Stay close to me. Eris took hold of Malora's hand. A heavy weight settled on Malora's stomach as they got closer. People were craning their necks, whispering to one another, while others stood with grim expressions, their eyes fixed on something hidden by the alley's shadows. As they approached the edge of the crowd, Eris leaned toward a middle-aged man who stood watching from the outskirts. Excuse me, what's going on? The man turned toward her, expression grim. Yes, I am dyslexic, actually. Thank you for asking. But yeah, I am dyslexic. Jeez, what is going on today? What is going on today? Okay. All right. You know what, actually? Okay, yeah, you guys can go. Thank you for the engagement, but you can go. Yeah. We don't need to be rude. We don't, it's not, it's, I'm just reading a book. It's just for fun, guys. We don't have to be rude. If you don't like it, you don't have to stay. So that's what free will is. If you don't enjoy the time, then just leave and find somebody else. Okay? We don't have to make people feel bad. This is a fun space. And this isn't to my spirits. All of my spirits that are always here, I know that you would never intentionally hurt somebody. But unfortunately, not everybody is the same way. If you're here to cause pain and hurt, kindly fuck off. Thank you. Oh, jeez. Be careful, guys. So my feelings might actually get hurt. Oh my god. I'm sure that's what they're intending to do, so I'm not gonna let them win. But, jeez. I mean, if somebody's trying to read, just let them try. If it's not what you expect in terms of quality, just go find a different stream. That's what's so amazing. There's so many people. Thank you for the head pat. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyway. They interrupted a serious scene. There's something going down. We need to jump back in. I'm so sorry, spirits, for the disruptions and hate in chat. I'm sorry about that. I know it's not something for me to apologize for, but I still do feel like I should say sorry, because I want you guys to have a good time too, and seeing negativity in chat is not fun for anyone. Stupid people. Yeah, you can do... no, it's fine. I think we're almost done with the chapter. I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay. I think they were just trolling, so it's okay. Okay. Am I dyslexic? Yes, I am dyslexic. Should I put that in the title, guys? I think I'll put it in the title next time. That way, if people click in, they're not like, oh my god, this person can't read. I am dyslexic, yes. Anyway. Okay. That's enough. Yeah, go ahead and, just put it in follower mode. Just put it in follower mode. Is anybody, how long do you have to be following to be able to chat? I don't want to, like... Yeah, okay, that'll be fine. Yes. Yes. I don't even know who the person is that they're talking about. Yeah, 10 minutes is fine. That's all good. I appreciate it. Trolls will be trolls. Trolls will be trolls. But that's okay. Alright. We have a very serious situation going on right now in the book, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit just so that we can, like, reset the scene. Rose is here to save the day. Exactly. We're big enough to be trolled. Oh my god, am I famous? I am famous. That's crazy. I'm famous, guys. That's wild. I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay, so I'm gonna go back a little bit because I want to reset the scene. With night approaching, the street was still alive with vendors closing their stalls and shopkeepers removing their open signs. Just as they finished their conversation, a large crowd came into view near a narrow alleyway, their hushed voices thick with tension. "Stay close to me." Eris took hold of Malora's hand. A heavy weight settled in Malora's stomach as they got closer. People were craning their necks, whispering to one another, while others stood with grim expressions, their eyes fixed on something hidden by the alley's shadows. As they approached the edge of the crowd, Eris leaned toward the middle-aged man, who stood watching from the outskirts. "Excuse me, what's going on?" The man turned toward her, his expression grim. "Someone's been killed." He shook his head. "Happened just now in that alley. They said it was quick, but no one's sure how or why." Eris's face paled. "Do they know who did it?" "No clue. Could have been muggers or some kind of street scuffle. Poor soul probably just stumbled into the wrong place at the wrong time." Malora's heart thudded in her chest, her eyes darting to the darkened alley where something dreadful lurked just out of view. The air around her was suffocating. "All right, that's enough," a guard called out. He began pushing his way through the gathering, gesturing for the crowd to disperse. "Move along, nothing to see here." Malora's stomach twisted further, the knot pulling tighter with each passing second. "We should go." Eris pulled on Malora's hand. The magic of the city seemed to fade in an instant. Even her anxieties about Vargrath combat class... The magic of the city seemed to fade in an instant. Even her anxieties about Vargrath's combat classes felt insignificant in the shadow of what they'd just learned. As they continued home, a heavy silence settled over them like a weight. Even the lively sounds of the street vendors calling out, footsteps echoing on the stone, seemed quieter, more distant. A man was killed. Oh my gosh, my cats are fighting. I think they're fine. A man was killed. Malora's hands trembled. The city, which once felt so full of wonder, now seemed like a place where the line between life and death was thinner than she had ever thought. The end. Yeah, there was a cat fight going on behind me. Could you guys hear it? And that ends chapter 4. Chapter 4. That ends chapter 4. Yay, we did it. Oh my god, somebody died. Someone died, guys. That is crazy. So many interruptions, trolls, then catfights. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. But listen, look at it this way. They are so obsessed with me, they had multiple accounts that they had to keep coming back in for. They're obsessed. It was a good chapter. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Also, thank you for the follow, Moody. And I did want to say, I see that you were on the YouTube side. I wanted to say I really appreciate you coming over to Twitch. I know that means a lot, because going from one platform to another is not easy. And it takes a lot of effort, so I really appreciate it. You wonder if they have a Portuguese version? I wonder. Let me see. I don't know if it's translated to any other language, but I do actually sometimes message the author, so I will definitely let him know there might be an interest in it. This is a very small new indie book they're actually going to be releasing an official audiobook soon, which is going to be like a cinematic audiobook where all of the characters are voiced by different people. So it's going to be a really immersive experience. So if you like this book too, whenever that starts coming out, I'll make sure to link it for everybody too, if you want to like see the official version with less less mistakes. You're so welcome, Moody. You're so welcome. It sounds wild. It sounds like it's going to be really cool. He's a really cool person, the author is, and very passionate about his writing and books, and he loves this character so much, which is what drew me to the book actually, from one of his lives. So it was really, 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 really cool. But the mistakes give charm. We love charm. Yay, charm. Wish him health for me? I certainly will. He actually might see this. He sometimes likes to listen to the streams, so because the book rendition is different, so maybe he'll see it. He'll see your comments because they're all up here on the screen right here. Bring, bring. If there's a Portuguese version, you'll definitely get one for your girlfriend and one for you. Oh, that's awesome. You can get the English one. Yeah, it's you can get it on Amazon. He also does have, I believe, a TikTok shop as well. And there's a special edition version of the book on the TikTok shop that comes with a shirt as well, if I'm remembering correctly. And also all of the art, so like the art that you see here, let me make it bigger so you can see. This artwork is all done by the author himself. He does all of the art, which I think is so cool. We have a multi-talented king here. He's amazing. And I think there's like the version I think I'm showing right here, I believe is the regular version. I can't remember. But yeah, very skillful guy. Props to him. I know, right? It's so impressive. People who, you know, work really hard to make their dreams come true. I think that's so cool. But yeah, that ends chapter 4. Next week, same time, we'll be reading chapter 5 for the next installment of Rita Book. And so I hope that you guys will all be able to come and hang out at that time. But if not, don't worry. I am dual streaming to the YouTube as well, so that if you do miss it, you can always check out the VOD there or on Twitch if it's, you know, within the time frame. Also, hi, hello. I forget how to say your name. Is it Dan? I want to say it's Dan, right? I don't remember. Thanks for the chapter. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Yes. There's a site called LibraVox that posts volunteer readings of copyright-free books. Oh, that's so smart. I know there's a lot of books, too, that are like free public domain, I believe, but a lot of them are older, and that's not a problem. The problem with the older books is that they use some language that is like really difficult for my poor dyslexic brain to understand, because I wanted to read Alice in Wonderland, and I started kind of practicing reading it, but oh my gosh, the English in it is so sophisticated. It's so sophisticated. English. Do I have a stream schedule? You have some time during your week and you will make sure. Oh, thank you so much. I don't have an official stream schedule, but I do usually stream around this time whenever I do stream. I usually start about like an hour ago-ish. Yeah, about an hour and a half ago. And I think the next time I'll be streaming will either be probably Tuesday in 2 days, unless I feel like a really big itch to play more Quarantine Zone. Late but worth it. Oh, that's the nicest thing ever. That's so kind. That's so kind. Yeah, Discord is the best place to hear about streams. And I did fix all the links, I think. So they should work now. But yeah, sometimes they're impromptu. I am working on coming up with like a better stream schedule, but one stream that is for sure happening is like always Sunday at 6 p.m. CST. Read a book, unless something crazy happens. But yeah, so hopefully I'll see everybody next time. Oh, thank you for the hip hats, Divine. Thank you. Yay! I'm so glad that you guys had fun today. Again, I'm so sorry for all the trolls and interruptions, but we got through the chapter and I'm really excited to hear what happens in chapter 5. So, we'll see you guys next week for chapter 5. Bye everybody. I'll see you all next time. Oyasumi. Awkward transition, go. Goodbye everybody. Goodbye. I know, right? It's done already. The time flies. Time flies when we're having a good time.